Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much. Have you ever felt like you were stuck on repeat, living the same day over and over again? What if the reason your life isn't changing is because you're unknowingly choosing not to change it? And here's the real question. Are you brave enough to press the reset button on your own life? Most people live their entire lives on autopilot, day in and day out. They wake up to the same alarm, go through the same routines, make the same predictable decisions, and surround themselves with the same people. Their thoughts? Identical to yesterday's. Their actions? Recycled from the day before. And yet they sit back wondering why nothing ever changes. Why their finances seem frozen, why their relationships feel empty or stuck, why their biggest dreams remain distant hopes. Life, to them, feels like something happening to them, not something they're actively creating. But here's what I've discovered after years of studying human behavior and the patterns of success. Life doesn't improve by luck or chance. Life gets better when it's intentionally designed. And sometimes, creating a better life means doing what most people fear the most. It means starting over. It means finding the strength to walk away from what's broken and the clarity to build what actually works. It demands wisdom. Wisdom to accept that where you are right now is the outcome of the choices you made yesterday. And where you'll be tomorrow, that hinges completely on the decisions you make today. That's the truth about human nature. We are creatures of habit. Our minds are hardwired to seek out comfort, cling to routine, and avoid resistance. It's how our ancestors survived, by sticking to what was familiar and safe. But in the modern world, that same instinct can quietly become your greatest obstacle. It traps you in cycles of mediocrity. It convinces you to settle for less than you're capable of. It fuels your excuses and delays your growth. Just think about it for a moment. How many people do you know who constantly complain about their situation, but do absolutely nothing to change it? How many blame their past, their upbringing, their job, their education, or the lack of it, for the way life has turned out? They begin to believe they're merely victims of circumstance, as if they have no control over their destiny. But the truth is this: you always have the power to reset your life. Any moment you choose, you could begin again. The problem? Hitting that reset button isn't comfortable, and it's definitely not easy. Resetting your life demands something that most people are unwilling to do. It calls you to step far outside the boundaries of your comfort zone and into what I like to call the growth zone. And that's not an easy leap. It means confronting the reality of where you are right now, being honest about how you got there, and then having the courage to make the tough choices necessary to change direction. The truth is, most people would rather remain comfortably stuck in a life they quietly resent than experience temporary discomfort in pursuit of something better. It's strange, isn't it? How comfort can become a cage. Let's talk about what a true life reset looks like. It always begins with awareness. That's the foundation. You have to develop a clear understanding of where you are and how your past decisions brought you here. But this isn't about shame, guilt, or beating yourself up. It's not about regret. It's about clarity. You have to take a personal, honest inventory of your life. Start with your relationships. Are they uplifting you, or are they draining your energy? Then examine your daily habits. Are they pushing you toward your goals, or pulling you away from them without you even noticing? Think about your finances. Are your spending patterns building security or slowly creating stress and anxiety? And don't forget your health. Are your daily choices adding to your vitality or quietly stealing your future? This kind of reflection makes people uncomfortable, and that's why so many avoid it. Because it means facing the gap between the life they're living and the life they truly want. It forces them to admit that their choices haven't always reflected their values or supported their dreams. That gap, that discomfort, it can feel overwhelming. But here's what most people miss. Discomfort isn't the enemy. In fact, that uncomfortable feeling is where the transformation begins. That discomfort is actually trying to help you. It's a signal. It's your inner voice telling you something has to change. After awareness comes the next step, acceptance. This is where many people hesitate, but it's absolutely essential. You must accept full responsibility for where you are in your life today. Not a portion, not conditional responsibility, full responsibility. And yes, this is one of the hardest steps in the entire reset process, because it means letting go of blame. It means stepping away from the mindset of being a victim and stepping into the identity of a victor. It means understanding that while you may not have chosen everything that happened to you, you are always responsible for how you respond to it and for what you do next. I've seen so many people wrestle with this. They push back with comments like, "But you don't understand what I've been through." I've heard it so many times. "You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how hard it's been." And they're right. I don't know every detail of their personal story. I don't know every loss, struggle, or painful moment they've endured. But here's what I do know. Everyone has a story. Everyone faces setbacks, and everyone carries battles no one else can see. The real difference between those who move forward in life and those who stay stuck isn't the absence of hardship. It's not that successful people somehow avoided pain or problems. The true difference lies in how they respond to those problems. When you choose to accept full responsibility for your life, something powerful begins to shift. You start to take your power back. Because as long as you're pointing fingers at your past, your parents, your job, your environment, you're giving away control. You're essentially saying, "I'm stuck and it's someone else's fault." But the very moment you take ownership, you reclaim the ability to make change. If your past decisions led you here, then new decisions can lead you somewhere better. That realization is the first crack in the wall that's been holding you back. Let's talk for a moment about the power of decision. Every true life reset begins there, with a decision, not a vague intention, not a maybe one day kind of thought, not a hope, not a wish, and definitely not a conditional plan that depends on everything going perfectly. It starts with a clear, decisive moment, a firm, unshakable commitment to change your life, no matter what. A real decision cuts off all other options. It's like burning the boats behind you. There's no turning back. Retreat is no longer on the table, and the only direction left is forward. But here's where many people get it wrong. They think making a decision is a one-time event. They assume they can decide once and the rest will fall into place. But that's not how transformation works. That's not a decision. That's a wish with a sprinkle of motivation. A true decision is something you reinforce daily. It's something you commit to again and again through action. Real decisions are made visible through discipline, consistency, and a refusal to quit, especially on the days when it would be easier to give up. Let me give you an example. Imagine you decide to reset your health. One day, you look in a mirror and face the hard truth. Your current lifestyle is slowly draining your life away. You're carrying extra weight, your energy is low, your body aches, and you know deep down that the road you're on leads to serious health issues. And in that moment, you make a real decision. You say, "This ends now." But here's the thing. Deciding to reset your health isn't just about signing up for a gym membership or starting the latest diet trend. It goes much deeper than that. It's about changing the way you think about food, movement, and your body. It's about shifting the relationship you have with yourself. Real change happens not just in big moments, but in the hundreds of small choices you make every single day, especially on the days when you don't feel like showing up. In fact, those are the days that matter most. And this principle doesn't only apply to health. It applies to every single area of your life. Let's say you want to reset your financial life. Wishing for wealth or dreaming of abundance won't cut it. You must go beyond that. You must decide to build a completely new relationship with money. One that's grounded in clarity, education, and responsibility. That means choosing to learn how money works, to understand the principles of budgeting, saving, and investing. It means living below your means, being intentional with every dollar, and learning to delay gratification in a world that constantly tempts you to spend. And remember, this isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily one, reinforced through action. Now, let's talk career. If you're not happy in your current job, it's not enough to simply want something better. You have to become someone better, someone who earns that opportunity. That means building new skills, expanding your knowledge, strengthening your network, and finding ways to create more value in the marketplace. It also means letting go of the habit of blaming your boss, your coworkers, your company, or even the economy. Because as long as you're blaming, you're not building. True career growth begins when you take ownership and take action. Now, let me share something with you that lies at the heart of all personal transformation. One of the most overlooked, yet most powerful truths in self-development. You cannot change your life until you change your daily routine. It's that simple and that challenging. Your life, as it stands today, is the sum total of the habits you repeat day in and day out. If you want different results, you need to build different patterns. If you want a different kind of future, it starts with different actions today. And this is where most people stumble when trying to reset. They overwhelm themselves. They set out to change everything all at once. They create detailed, unrealistic plans filled with too many new habits and too little grace. And when life inevitably knocks them off track, because it always does, they interpret it as failure. They feel like they've fallen short, so they throw the whole plan away. They retreat back to their old routines, their old comfort zones, and the old mindset that never brought them growth to begin with. In the end, they come to believe that change is too difficult, that they lack the willpower, or worse, that they're simply not the kind of person who's capable of lasting transformation. But here's the truth, plain and simple. Sustainable change doesn't come from dramatic overnight overhauls. It comes from quiet consistency. It comes from small, purposeful steps taken again and again. Real transformation happens when you stop chasing perfection and start committing to steady progress, one decision at a time. True change begins when you recognize this powerful truth. Every single day, through the choices you make, you're casting votes for the kind of person you're becoming. Each decision, big or small, is shaping your identity. And over time, those small decisions add up in ways that can completely transform your life. Let me introduce you to the power of the compound effect. It's one of the most underrated forces in personal growth. If you were to improve yourself by just 1% each day, just one small step forward, by the end of a single year, you wouldn't just be slightly better. You'd be 37 times better than where you started. Think about that. Not 37% better, 37 times better. That's the exponential magic of steady, incremental growth. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't need grand, dramatic changes to create meaningful results over time. What you do need is consistency, a willingness to show up, to keep going, even when progress feels invisible. But here's where it gets real, and where most people miss the warning signs. The compound effect doesn't just work in the positive. It works both ways. Just as small improvements add up to major progress, small poor choices, when repeated, can spiral into serious consequences. Missing one workout, eating one bad meal, skipping one opportunity, it might not seem like a big deal. But when those choices become patterns, the results can be just as powerful, only in the wrong direction. Every single day, you're either moving forward or falling behind. There is no such thing as standing still. You're either building momentum or losing it. You're either making choices that align with the person you want to become, or choices that quietly sabotage that vision. And that brings us to one of the most overlooked but critical pieces of resetting your life. The people you choose to surround yourself with. You've probably heard the saying, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It might sound like a catchy line, but it's far more than just motivational fluff. It's a profound truth grounded in human behavior. As social creatures, we absorb the energy, habits, and mindset of the people around us. Whether we realize it or not, our environment shapes us. So if you're serious about resetting your life, you must be just as serious about resetting your associations. You have to take an honest look at the people in your life and ask some difficult but necessary questions. Are these individuals pushing me to be better or pulling me into complacency? Are they encouraging growth or are they content with my stagnation? Do they cheer for my goals or do they feel threatened when I try to rise? This doesn't mean you have to be harsh. It doesn't mean you need to cut people off without compassion. But it does mean that if someone is holding you back from becoming the person you're meant to be, you owe it to yourself to create some distance. But what it does mean is that you have to be intentional, strategic even, about who gets your time, your energy, and most importantly, your influence. Not everyone should have access to your inner circle. You need to actively seek out people who are already walking the path you want to walk. People who have built the kind of life you're working toward. People who are striving, evolving, pushing themselves, and can help you do the same. Surround yourself with mentors who have wisdom, coaches who challenge you, and peers who won't let you settle for less than your best. These are the voices you want around you. Voices that lift you up, push you forward, and keep you focused on the person you're becoming. At the same time, you need to protect your space from those who drain your energy, discourage your growth, or quietly pull you back into old, familiar patterns. Sometimes that resistance may come from those closest to you. It could be family members who don't quite understand your desire for change, or old friends who feel unsettled by your transformation. It might even be coworkers who spend more time complaining than contributing. People who've made comfort their identity. And here's the thing, you don't have to be cruel. You don't have to burn bridges or make dramatic exits. But you do need boundaries. You need to be clear about who is helping you grow and who is holding you back, because your future depends on it. Now, let's talk about one of the most underestimated but relentless obstacles on your reset journey, your own mind. As powerful as it is, the mind can also be your biggest source of resistance. It has one job, to protect you. And it often does that by clinging to what feels safe, even if safe is what's keeping you stuck. Your mind will create stories, excuses, and justifications to keep you right where you are. It'll remind you of the last time you tried and failed. It'll highlight everything that could go wrong and downplay everything that could go right. It will whisper thoughts like, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. Who do you think you are to want more? This is normal. It's part of the process. Every single person who has ever made a meaningful change in their life has had to face this internal battle. You are not alone in this. The key is to recognize those thoughts for what they really are, just thoughts. They're not truth. They're not destiny. And they certainly don't have the final say. You don't have to believe every thought that shows up. You don't have to act on every emotion that passes through. You have the power to observe your thoughts, question them, and choose better ones. You have more power than you realize. The power to choose which thoughts you give energy to and which ones you let go. You're not a prisoner to every fear or doubt that passes through your mind. One of the most effective ways to overcome this mental resistance is to build something I call a philosophy of progress. Think of it as your inner operating system, a set of beliefs and principles that guide your decisions and shape how you interpret life's challenges. This philosophy becomes your framework for growth. It helps you understand that real transformation often requires discomfort. That failure isn't a dead end, but rather feedback, valuable information showing you what needs to change. That setbacks aren't signs to give up, but setups for a stronger comeback. Every challenge, no matter how tough, becomes a chance to grow stronger if you choose to see it that way. And when life throws you off course, which it inevitably will, this personal philosophy becomes your compass. It's what helps you find your way back. It reminds you of your why when you feel like quitting. It shifts your perspective so that temporary defeats become stepping stones, not roadblocks. With the right mindset, even your biggest obstacles can become your greatest opportunities. Let me share with you 4 foundational principles of a powerful life reset philosophy. First, embrace personal responsibility. You are the author of your own story. That doesn't mean you control everything that happens to you. Of course not. But you do control how you respond. And in that response lies your greatest power. This isn't just about blame, it's about ownership. Because when you fully own your life, you also reclaim the ability to change it. Second, adopt a growth mindset. Believe that your intelligence, talents, and abilities are not fixed traits. They can be developed through effort, education, and perseverance. A growth mindset shifts your view of failure. Instead of seeing it as a reflection of your worth, you begin to see it as feedback, information telling you what's working and what's not. It helps you approach challenges with curiosity instead of fear. Third, focus on what you can control and release what you can't. You can't control the economy. You can't control other people's opinions, the weather, or what happened in the past. But you can control your attitude. You can control your energy, your effort, and the way you choose to respond to life's events. And when you start pouring your energy into the things within your control, something powerful happens. You feel more grounded, more capable, and far less overwhelmed. Fourth, think long-term. Here's a truth that surprises a lot of people. Most overestimate what they can achieve in a single year, but severely underestimate what they can build over the course of a decade. That's why, when you commit to resetting your life, you have to train your RAM. And those who do watch closely just to criticize, they're usually the ones doing the least, the ones sitting on the sidelines, the ones afraid to try. So don't give their judgment the power to write your story. The people whose opinions truly matter, the ones who genuinely care about you and want to see you succeed, will support your desire to grow. They may not fully understand every decision you make. They might not resonate with every step of your journey, but they will respect your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. And if they don't, if they criticize or withdraw when you strive to improve, that tells you something very important about the nature of that relationship and whether it deserves a seat in the life you're building next. Now let's shift gears and get practical, because resetting your life isn't just about mindset. It's also about method, and it all starts with clarity. You need to get crystal clear on what you want your new life to look like. Vague goals won't get you far. Wanting to feel better or do more won't give you direction. What you need is a specific, vivid, detailed vision of the future you want to create. Picture it. What does your ideal day look like from morning to night? What kind of work are you doing that brings purpose to your life? What relationships are surrounding you? Who's there? And how do they support you? What does your body feel like when you wake up? Energized, strong, alive. What kind of environment are you living in? What habits are you living by? The clearer the picture, the stronger your motivation. That vision becomes your North Star, the thing that keeps you steady when the road gets tough. But dreaming alone isn't enough. A vision without a plan is just a fantasy. You must turn that big picture dream into a step-by-step strategy. Break your vision down into goals. Then break those goals down into actions. And finally, translate those actions into daily habits. Here's a framework that works powerfully well. Start with your 1-year vision. Ask yourself, where do I want to be a year from now? Then reverse engineer the path. What would you need to accomplish in the next 6 months to be on track for that vision? From there, what should you hit in the next 3 months? Then zoom in further. What goals need to be met this month to move you forward? What should you focus on this week? And perhaps most importantly, what can you do today? By working backwards like this, you turn a big, overwhelming dream into clear, manageable steps. You answer the question that stops most people before they begin. Where do I even start? The answer is simple. You start with today. You begin with what's right in front of you, using what you have from exactly where you are. But planning is only part of the equation. Execution is what turns vision into reality. And execution, consistently showing up and doing the work, requires discipline. It's not about waiting until you feel ready or motivated. It's about honoring your plan, even when it's inconvenient. Because that's how transformation takes root. Discipline, real discipline, is the glue that holds your reset together. It's doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, regardless of whether you feel like in the moment. It's showing up, not because it's easy or exciting, but because you've made a commitment to yourself. Discipline is the bridge that connects your intentions to your results. It's what transforms goals into achievements. It's what separates those who only dream about change from those who live it. Now, a lot of people think discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you hate. And yes, sometimes it means pushing through resistance. But that's only part of the truth. True discipline goes deeper. It's about aligning your daily actions with your highest values and long-term goals, even when your emotions are pulling you in the opposite direction. It's about keeping promises to yourself, not just once, but over and over again. It's about respecting your future self enough to make the hard choices today. And here's the beautiful part: discipline compounds. Every time you follow through, every time you do what you said you would, you build a little more trust with yourself. You reinforce your confidence. You strengthen your identity. Over time, choosing what's best becomes less of a battle and more of a habit. It starts to feel natural because it becomes who you are. But let me be honest with you. Along this reset journey, setbacks are inevitable. You'll have off days. You will make mistakes. You'll slip back into old habits now and then, or run into obstacles you didn't see coming. There will be moments when you question whether all this effort is even worth it. But hear this. That's not failure. That's not a sign you're broken or that you're not cut out for change. That's a sign that you're human. The difference between people who reset their lives successfully and those who don't isn't about avoiding setbacks. It's about how they respond to them. High achievers see setbacks as temporary, not permanent, as specific moments, not life sentences. They don't let a mistake define them. Instead, they reflect, adapt, and move forward with more wisdom than before. They see failure not as a tombstone, but as a stepping stone. So when that moment comes, and it will, resist the urge to spiral. Don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. Don't let one misstep become a pattern. Don't let one failure convince you that you're not capable. Instead, ask yourself, what actually happened? What did I learn from this? How can I adjust my approach going forward? What support or structure do I need to prevent this from happening again? Because real resilience, it isn't about avoiding adversity. It's about how you rise through it. Resilience isn't just about enduring adversity. It's about bouncing back stronger than you were before. Every time you rise after a setback, you build your resilience muscle a little more. Every challenge you work through sharpens your strength. Every obstacle you overcome boosts your confidence. And every time you recover and keep going, you prove to yourself that you are not defined by your circumstances. You are greater than them. There's one incredibly powerful question that can help you shift your mindset during those tough moments. It's not, why is this happening to me? But rather, how is this serving me? That one shift from victim to student can change everything. Instead of feeling defeated, you begin to look for meaning, insight, and growth. You stop asking why life is unfair and start asking what life is trying to teach you. Sometimes, the answer reveals itself quickly. Maybe losing a job becomes the push you needed to finally pursue your true passion. Maybe a health scare wakes you up and inspires you to start caring for your body the way it deserves. Maybe the end of a relationship clears space for someone healthier and more aligned with your future. But other times, the answer doesn't come right away. You may not see the purpose behind a setback until weeks, months, or even years later. And that's okay. That's where trust comes in. Trust that there is something valuable within the pain, and that the lesson will reveal itself in time. And this brings us to something many people struggle with when resetting their lives: patience. We live in a world that glorifies speed, where everything is instant. Instant message, instant reçu, instant feedback. So when we don't see immediate changes, we assume something's wrong. But the truth is, meaningful transformation is never instant. Real growth is slow, steady, and intentional. Changing your habits takes time. Building new skills takes time. Shaping new outcomes takes time. You must be patient with the process, while staying urgent with your actions. Those two forces, patience and urgency, must work together. Think of your life reset like planting a garden. You don't plant seeds today and expect fruit by tomorrow. You have to nurture them, water them, protect them from weeds, and do this consistently, even when nothing seems to be happening above the surface. Because eventually, with enough care and commitment, the harvest comes. The same goes for your life. If you stay committed to making better decisions, if you continue building stronger habits, and if you consistently take intentional actions, results will follow. They may not show up overnight, but they are on the way. But here's the key. You can't just water your garden once and expect it to flourish. You can't pull weeds a single time and assume they'll never come back. A thriving garden demands daily care, daily attention, daily effort. In your life, it's no different. Improving your life is not a one-time decision. It's a daily discipline. You must tend to your inner garden every single day. Water it with positive habits. Weed out negative thoughts and toxic behaviors. Success isn't a one-time event. It's not something that just happens. Success is a process. It's what unfolds when consistent preparation meets the right opportunity. And preparation? That happens in the small choices you make each day. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools you'll need during your reset journey: learning. If you want your life to change, you must change. If you want things around you to get better, you have to get better first. If you want more from your relationships, your health, your income, you must become more. And that kind of transformation only comes from continuous learning and personal growth. The version of you that created your current life, your current habits, knowledge, and mindset also created your current results. So if you want different results, it's simple. You must become a different version of yourself. This doesn't mean abandoning who you are at your core. It doesn't mean giving up your values or identity. It means expanding your abilities, deepening your understanding, developing new skills and perspectives. Make learning a non-negotiable part of your routine. Read books that challenge your thinking and push you outside your mental comfort zone. Listen to podcasts that broaden your worldview. Attend workshops or seminars that teach you practical skills you can apply. Seek out mentors who are further along the path you want to walk. Surround yourself with people who stretch your standards and make you think bigger. But here's the critical point. Don't just consume information. Use it. The world is full of people who know a lot, but do very little. Education without execution means nothing. It's not what you know that changes your life. It's what you do with what you know. Knowledge without application is just noise. So, as you learn, apply, experiment, take action. Let your learning shape your habits and decisions. And as you grow, don't keep it to yourself. Share what you're discovering with others. Teach what you're learning. There's something powerful that happens when you begin to teach and give back. It doesn't just reinforce what you know, it multiplies your growth. When you share what you're learning, something powerful happens. It deepens your own understanding. It forces you to organize your thoughts, to clarify your ideas, and to solidify what you've absorbed. It also connects you with people on a similar journey. People who are hungry for growth, just like you. And as you continue to share, You begin to be seen not only as a student of change, but also as someone who's actively living it. And here's the truth. You don't need to be an expert to make a difference. You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. You can share your lessons, your missteps, your insights, your wins, and even your struggles. Because authenticity is what inspires people most. You can mentor someone who's currently where you once were. You can encourage someone who's feeling stuck or uncertain. You can teach someone who's finally ready to take the first step. And that leads to one of the most meaningful parts of a personal reset, the opportunity to serve. As you grow, your capacity to give grows too. As you overcome obstacles, you gain wisdom that can help someone else get through what you once thought you'd never survive. As you hit milestones and achieve your goals, you become living proof that transformation is possible. Service is more than giving back. Service is what gives your journey a deeper meaning. It transforms personal growth into shared purpose. It allows your story to become someone else's roadmap. It turns your wins into fuel for others. It's how you leave a mark on the world around you. Not by being perfect, but by being honest and willing to help others rise as you rise. Service is about leaving every space, every person, every moment better than you found it. When you combine personal development with a commitment to serve others, something extraordinary happens. You don't just create a life of progress. You create a life of significance. You don't just improve, you become a source of improvement. And that's where real fulfillment lives. But here's a key truth you can't forget. You can't give what you don't have. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't teach what you haven't lived. You can't inspire change if you haven't experienced it yourself. That's why your personal reset, the time, energy, and dedication you invest in your own growth, is not selfish. It's not self-centered. In fact, it's one of the most generous things you can do. Because every person you influence, every life you touch, will be better because you chose to grow. As I begin to close this message, let me remind you of something simple but powerful. You already have everything you need to begin your reset today. You don't need more time. What you need is to make better use of the time you already have. You don't need more money. You need better financial habits, habits that align with your goals, not your impulses. You don't need more opportunities. You need to better prepare yourself for the opportunities that are already around you, waiting for you to be ready. And you don't need more luck. What you really need is to work with greater intention, smarter and harder, so that when luck does appear, you're prepared to seize it. The tools are out there. The knowledge is accessible. The support you need can be found. The only real question left is this: are you ready? Are you willing to step outside your comfort zone and into the place where growth truly happens? Are you ready to stop repeating the same excuses and start building real momentum? Are you ready to stop being a passive observer of your life and start being the active architect of your future? Because here's the truth. Your life is waiting for you to hit reset. Your potential is sitting there, untapped, waiting to be awakened. Your dreams? They haven't given up on you. They're waiting patiently for you to finally pursue them with everything you've got. And your future self, the one who's healthier, happier, more fulfilled, is hoping you'll make the decisions today that will create the tomorrow you desire. So the real question isn't whether you can change your life. The real question is, will you? The time for excuses? That's over. The time for hesitation? Done. The time for someday? It ends now. Because the right time is now. The right person is you. And the power? It's already within you. So force yourself to reset your life. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because you feel like it, but because you owe it to yourself and to everyone who believes in who you could become. Your reset begins now. Your transformation starts today. Your new life is out there, waiting for you to create it. So what are you waiting for? Wishing you strength, health, and happiness on this journey. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more content that empowers your path forward.